Welcome to the Relatable Oklahoma Realtors Podcast, the show that sets out to demystify the world of real estate. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, investor, or a realtor with years of experience, this is where real estate is discussed and explained. Join me now for our hosts, Stacy and Burl Stricker.
Hi.
I'm Stacy Stricker.
I'm Burl Stricker.
Oklahoma Relatable Realtors.
I mean, what a great podcast.
We're so relatable. We're just like the average realtor. We don't walk around in suits and heels.
I know.
You know, when I first got into this business, I did wear my little heels. And you know what I learned very quickly is, when you're showing houses in Western Oklahoma, we don't have sidewalks everywhere.
No.
And you go out into the yard or to a little bit of acreage, your heels sink.
Yeah.
And then you look ridiculous.
I know. I've probably slid to the other side of that too much, where I'm just like, this is what I wear. If I was to, in the middle of the day, say, hey, let's go show this house, I'm going to probably show up in the exact same thing I was working on the flip house. I've definitely gone a little extreme with that.
Yeah, when I first met you, you were running nursing homes.
Mm-hmm.
So you were always, business casual.
Yeah.
But now you're working on flip houses.
Yeah.
And you'll go show a house in between or whatever.
I'm literally going to be wearing what I'm wearing. Right.
Be covered in paint.
I'm actually for it. I'm like, this is.
Well, I had a boss one time tell me, I was like in my 20s. Because when I did property management, one time I was in Dallas, worked there for several years, and then came back to Oklahoma. And in Dallas, we had to wear suits and pantyhose. Well, you know how hot it gets in Dallas. Let me tell you about pantyhose out showing these luxury apartments. But it's not pretty.
Yeah.
It's not pretty. And this girl sweats.
Mm-hmm.
So then I come back to Oklahoma, and I remember telling, my boss that I didn't miss wearing the pantyhose. He said, I've always felt like we need to dress like our customers.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that.
I think I do believe that's a great way to do it. I mean, I think you need to, I have people all the time ask me, hey, I'm going to this job interview. What should I wear? And the answer is basically what you're going to be wearing to work, the guy interviewing you will probably be wearing. If you show up in a suit and he's wearing, work clothes, I think you're going to have a problem. But, I do, there is an element of course of look nice. And, I always remember Jerry Rice. Remember he was with San Francisco 49ers, one of probably the greatest receivers ever from the 90s. But anyway, he talks about that he was like the first person in the locker room, the last person that went out of the locker room. And it's because his uniform was impeccable. And he believed that if you look good, you play good. And I think there's a part of that, but it's the key of looking where you feel good. It's like, as long as what you're wearing, you feel comfortable in it, you know what I mean? Then you're going to play good. But even if you're wearing a suit and you feel uncomfortable, you see what I mean? You're not right. So in that case, I don't think, because in that case, it'd be like Jerry Rice showing up, I'm going to play football in my 3-piece suit. Yeah, you look good, but you can't play. And so I think that it's play. You want to look good, feel good, and play good. And all those things has to match.
Yes, the confidence goes up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off the subject just a little bit because, again, it makes me think of Wayne Wilson, who I reference him a lot. He was a great mentor who we bought the office from. He said one time, talking about looking, he said, he went into this listing appointment, and I think I may not get this completely right, but, maybe the seller wanted to put the house on the market the way it was. And he said, no, you need to get it ready. And he likes to do analogies. Yeah. So it was like, when you get up maybe to go to church or to the store, like you get up, you take a shower, you fix your hair, your makeup, because you want to look nice and presentable. Well, that's how we need your house to look before it's being shown. And I'm like, that is a great analogy. So true.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to look good. It's going to smell good. It's going to feel good.
I think the best way to understand that for me is that how many times have you like, okay, I'm going to sell my house, I'm going to move. And so you do all these things before you sell your house to make it look good. And then the sad part about it is you're actually living in a house at the very end that exactly the way you wanted it. And you know what I mean? But think about that reverse. The reverse is like if your house looks today like you want it to look, then you feel good about the house you own.
Like you say, I remember like when the very first time you came over here, you were like, this house, like, I mean, everything is perfect. You were like kind of making fun of me. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? It makes me feel good. Hush.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's funny.
Okay.
Did you just make fun of me on podcast?
Because you're making fun of me in my house.
No. All right. Go ahead.
Let's talk auctions. So in January, 4 of us from the office, you, Christy, and Greb and I went to auction school.
Yeah.
For 10 days.
Yeah. Was it 10 days? It seemed like a while. It was a lot. I don't remember, but it was a lot. 10 days seems too much, but I don't know. It was a lot.
It was a lot. Anyway, we learned a lot. So we started auctions. Our first auction was in April. And I think since then we've done like 12.
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
It's been pretty amazing. Yesterday, we lotted a huge one. It was you and Jordan and Kayla and I and Pascal. And then you and Pascal moved it all.
Yeah.
So y'all did all the hard work.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just came in at the end and helped lot it and sort it and all that stuff. But I had this epiphany. Don't you like it when I have these epiphanies?
Yeah.
I'm having them a lot lately. Speak to me, Jesus.
I was fixing to say you get inspired by me, but then you said that. So now if I said it's my, I did it, then now I sound like Jesus. I'm not Jesus. Right.
But no, you're not Jesus.
No. Right.
Anyway, so like this house had some pretty amazing things. And the family had already taken what they wanted. So this is a personal property auction, which, by the way, we do them all. Homes, land, commercial.
Yeah. I think the missing part, the part that people may not realize is that we're doing personal property. And if you're like me, I grew up in the country my whole life and all that stuff. And you think about auctions and you automatically think about farm, of course we'll do that. That stuff is great. And by the way, it's like, well, let me get back to the point. The point is that's what you think of when you think about auctions, right? But that's expanded, and it is expanded in a pretty amazing way. So those auctions are still going on, of course, but now also, you can auction also personal property. And so in the days, like this is what I always saw, garage sale and estate sales. And truthfully, those things just do not work very well. I am anti those things. Tons of work, very little return, and cannot emphasize it enough that you can spend how many of you guys have ever done a garage sale and just think about the work? Tons of work when it comes to a garage sale. Well, in my opinion, estate sale is just a glorified garage sale. I mean, truthfully. Now, we have done estate sales. I've done some, and I'm not completely opposed to doing estate sales, but what I am is that there is a new and better way.
100%. Being like a business that's closing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way to go.
It absolutely is. And I think that if you had to compare like rural Oklahoma or rural America to, urban areas, I think that we agree living in rural Oklahoma, this is the best place in the world to live when it comes to traffic, when it comes to your neighbors, when it comes to, all these things. And we agree. But the one thing that I think the bigger areas have that we don't have is the ability to reach multiple people when it comes to specific items. They don't have the ability. They have that ability because you're talking about big areas and big, but with the auctions, you actually have that ability to reach out to those same people and be able to capitalize on that. Somebody that's interested in what you have in a completely different place.
So yesterday we're lauding this auction, and a full household,
Mm-hmm.
pots and pans, multiple sets of dishes,
Yeah.
Pyrex, Corningware, like all this stuff.
I'm pretty sure that's another word that I've heard from you I never heard before. Pyrex.
I love it when you say stuff like that.
Well, there's like this handbook. I completely think you made that word up. There, Pyrex
is not a made up word.
Yeah.
By the way, it says it on the Pyrex. It says Pyrex.
Never heard that word in my life. It's kind of like that barn that you always have a name for. What is that called? Yeah. If there's anybody listening, have heard of a Quonset barn.
Girls, one day, I don't know. We were driving by because, of course, we're out in the country. And I'm like, man, I love those Quonset barns. And he said, what are you talking about? I said, that's a Quonset barn. He said, you just made that word up. No, I did not. So then, of course, I have to Google it. And he's grown up in the country.
I just never heard that term. But I think that's a whole nother podcast. But I think that if you were talking about, it's a great subject. If you're talking about terms you grew up with, terms I grew up with, I guarantee they're different. So if we go by now I'll give you an example. If you drive by and there's a little body of water in this land, what do you call that?
Well, a pond?
No, a pond, right? That's what you would call it. Well, where I'm from and how I grew up, that was called a tank. Yeah.
They like in a certain time.
That's a tank.
You said it.
Cliche. That's another example. So as most people around here, you say, well, what's this road you're driving on? It's a gravel road. But where I came from, it was called a cliche road. And that's because they were coming out of cliche pits. And there are right there.
Hey, you're from Texas. I'm from Oklahoma. It's not that big of a difference. But anyway. It's
not. But it's interesting because you use a lot of terms. I really think it comes more from property management or real estate, these terms, because I'm sure somebody's going to comment on this and say, some farmer who's, very smart, and he's going to be like, I've always called that a Quonset barn or whatever. And Quonset. I just personally don't know anybody who calls it that. I don't know. But I know you're correct because you Googled it, but there's so many words. Sony, what was the word you used? It's not called Tupperware. It's called, is pirate Tupperware? Like from the Tupperware party? I know what you're talking about.
Oh my word. Anyway, back to the auction.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of, Brawl has twin daughters. I'd like to claim them as mine, but they're not. But I love them like they're mine. And they like to thrift and upcycle. I've heard this about them from the beginning. So I think of them a lot when we do these, where I'm like, oh my gosh, the girls would love this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they used to like flip it, right? When they would go to a thrift shop, they'd buy it and flip it, which I think is super cool. Now they don't have time for that. They have like real jobs. They're adulting now.
Yeah.
But so I think of them, and as we said on the other podcast, like Kenzie and Connor just got married. Like, oh my gosh, like people now don't even register for China. Well, why would you anyway? You can just go buy some on HiBid.
Right.
I mean, how many things of China have we sold so far on HiBid? Gosh.
Yeah.
And it goes for so cheap. I was so butthurt when I didn't get China when I married. I was sad.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. So let's think about it from male perspective versus female perspective. Okay. No, we worked this auction last 3 days, or I have, and then you helped yesterday. You've seen everything. No, I'm saying you saw everything. No, I'm saying you saw everything. So from a female's perspective, what are the things, you named some of them, but what are the things you're like, oh yeah, I'd absolutely want that?
Oh, the furniture. I love the furniture. So another big trend right now is the upcycling in furniture, where people, and we sold a ton of it from another auction.
Mhm.
You know, where we actually, I don't know if that one was really an auction. We cleaned out a property and half of it ended up in our house and then we sold it. We did
Mhm.
most of that on Facebook.
Mhm.
But almost everyone that pulled up, that was funny stuff that they had sold or purchased or sold property
Yeah.
from us or someone in our office. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the couples, she flips furniture. So what they like about this old furniture is that it's real wood. It's good furniture. They can paint it, do whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great pieces in this auction. So, you know, furniture is expensive.
All right.
So if I was young and like, you know, just trying to like start my household, high bid, hello.
Yeah, for sure.
100% high bid.
No.
I mean, we've got like 3 tables on this one, isn't there?
3 what? Oh, yeah.
Dining
Yeah.
tables?
Yeah. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
What was what was another item that caught your eye?
Other?
You mentioned the Pyrex or whatever. That caught your eye, right?
Yeah.
What else? No, I was just curious. From a female's point of view,
Furniture pieces.
that was the big one.
I'd be curious to ask Jordan what she thinks because, you know, she's 21.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was there anything in that auction that interests you?
No.
Some of the stuff kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're auctioning this.
No. Well, there is those items, but to somebody, it might be what they're looking for. It's you know, I don't care a lick about furniture. I really don't. But I saw a couple of wood pieces, like wood furniture that I was impressed with. One was, I guess, a little desk that you like, it's the low roll top, but it is a small one, like a roll top. You pull up the roll and out pops whatever. I thought that was pretty, I mean, we're talking about, it is antique, you know. I don't know by definition, but to me it was. And then there's another piece of furniture, is the one where, like, I think it was table 2, where it flaps out like you have wings. That's a sponsorship right there.
Oh my gosh.
You don't think so?
Yeah, but here's where we're gonna go. So it's called like a drop table.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, not wings. But that's cute. I like that.
Yeah.
But like that would be perfect for like a small kitchen.
Yeah. Well, and some other things, like I love books. I'm a big.
Oh my gosh, decorators.
Whole,
These books.
that's one aspect.
Girl,
Actually, maybe reading them.
to read. I know some of these books to decorate with. They are gorgeous,
Yeah.
hard books. So I did like lot these and mixed them in colors. Like
Oh, I didn't notice you
I
mixed them
did
in
do
colors.
that. So like Jordan and Kayla, they made this video of me like of how many times I touched something. Because when I'm lotting it, I'm really trying to think what's the best way someone's going to want to buy this.
Yeah.
So I took those books. Like there was, I don't know, maybe like 30 of these really cool old books
Yeah.
that were like a cloth cover. Is that what you would say?
Yeah.
And so I mixed all the colors and the sizes up because I'm thinking someone's going
I mean, it's a hardback, but it's got this soft,
yeah.
not like the hardbacks you look at today.
Right. And they're worn. So I'm thinking someone's going to want to decorate.
And you know what's funny is I bought a book not too long ago. Let's say the last 6 months. It's like a little devotional book.
Yeah.
And I promise you, month 1, week 1 or something, like the pages are falling out of it. And yet you look at these books, some 30 from the 1930s, 40s, wherever, 60s. And yet, yeah, they look a little, but the worn looks good. It's not like pages are falling out. Completely different.
These are pretty books. So I did sort those. A ton of dishes, mixing bowls.
Well, back to mine, but I'm saying also, if you like to read, there's some pretty amazing books. I mean, you know, it's like you get even if it's not for, you know, you're not trying to make money off of it, but let's say you get a first edition of certain books. That's pretty cool. It's really cool, you know, and I saw 2 or 3 books or several books in there that I was like, oh my gosh, you know, that's a book that I've read, heard about. And now this is in like first edition, the very first, you know, the, you know what I'm saying? That hardcover, you know, if you bought that same book today from Amazon, it's going to look nothing like that. Nothing, you know, but you can still buy that same book.
I know what you're saying.
I think that was the main thing. I think that, like, I know people may feel negatively about this, and I could see it, but you're talking about, like, if you need sheets or linen, oh my God. And I think of those things, like, as a guy, if I'm going to, like, let's say I don't ever remember buying sheets. Maybe I was out of town in a stand at a friend's house, and, I don't know. I just don't, buying sheets, I don't know if I just can't remember a time I've literally, maybe. But yeah, they're expensive. My point is that I don't care so much about the sheets. And it's like, this is a great place to buy some sheets.
I think you would care what the inside of a house looks like. As long as you had a bed and a spit.
Right. You're so funny. Yeah. But I just think, to me, that's like, I hate to go spend that kind of money on that, and you can get it. You're going to be able to get it here pretty good. I know that, like, that it's not fun, but the fun part to me is just kind of like, if you take somebody who doesn't care about furniture, and we have, okay, I picked out 2 pieces that I think are pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. They are pretty cool. Like, so there was an auction that we did, and, and we'll bid on things just like anyone else. Like, we'll go to our.
Yeah. We're not getting the inside deals.
So we pay, just like everybody else does. Or I'm like, I would much rather have one of these older pieces of furniture that's real wood than some of this compressed wood.
Yeah. So how do people find it?
So, I previewed this on TikTok, and I think what we've decided is we're going to do a preview.
Mm-hmm.
So we run auctions for 30 days before they close out. So we're going to close this one out, before the end of the year. So you can go to exploreelkcity.hibid, and that's HIBID.com. exploreelkcity.hibid.com. And that takes you to our current auction. So this one is going to be loaded tomorrow. Well, by the time this airs, it's already going to be loaded.
Yeah.
Because there's over 400 pictures that we uploaded on this, and we describe it. And so I think we're going to do a preview on this because we set it up. We have an office space in Altus. So we moved all the contents into this office space so we can let people come in and preview it. So that's something new we're going to do.
I think something important that we haven't mentioned, but we really need to, is this auction also has a car on it. And I think that, if you actually bid on this and win, and we need to discuss that, by the way, that's important after this. But if you can get a really good deal, I think, on a nice car. And that's not something we mentioned, but there is a car on here.
And then all this stuff that you can find on, like, our office Facebook and website, and his personal Facebook pages.
Yeah. I think it's great too. So just go there, check it out. And you
need to start a Facebook page that's Oklahoma Relatable Realtors.
I like it. It's a great idea.
Yeah, we do. But we're excited to be growing the auction side. We discovered that there's a need there's a gap that we'd like to fill for that. And we have a great office team, and they would go out to do these listings, and sometimes an auction's a better route to go, or they had a house full of stuff that needed to be sold. So we're filling in the gap.
Here's what I love about it. And I don't think that it's easy to miss this. And that's the fact that usually when people, there's a time period when you sell houses that you are making a change. You're changing up, down. I would say most of the time when we're dealing with these audiences, people are changing down. Maybe they had their parents pass away, or there's been some major event. Yeah. It's very much a time of transition. And so what I love about it is that this is truly not just a salesperson talking, but this is like, you're actually meeting multiple needs with this. You're meeting a need of, like, when somebody passes away, for example, it's overwhelming to think about, what am I going to do with all their stuff? How do I deal with all that? And I think that this meets that need, and it really does. When there's a transition, there's a life change or whatever. And then also the fact that it gives opportunities for, people out there that are interested in buying things. I mean, it gives a great opportunity. And then for us, all we're doing is basically brokering the deal. And it's nice because even that is like, well, heck, we're doing most of the work. We're making it easy. And yet the cost, when you look at it, is very, it's not bad at all.
I will say that these people that we have met doing these auctions,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's some great relationships.
Yeah.
They're special. I mean, everyone we work with. I mean, my gosh, that's how I met you.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, this is what one of the many things I love about it is the relationships that come out of all of this.
For sure. All right. Well, you guys know where the website is. Check it out.
I don't know if we really mentioned our office. It's United Country Exploration Realty. We have 4 offices in Altus, Elk City, Yukon, Oklahoma, and we just also opened up down by Possum Kingdom, Texas. So pretty exciting.
Possum Kingdom is a great place.
We're just down there last week. I'm ready to go down this summer.
Oh, sounds great. Well, thank you guys for listening.
Yes,
and
follow, share.
Yep. Bye.